going back to secondary school, what was secondary school like for you? How did you find it?
I was always kind of person, I just enjoyed learning, so I enjoyed almost all subjects at school. But was always, even from primary school, really into maths. It just got it, like it just made sense to me. Whereas things like English and say geography, I had to work a little bit harder at. Maths was just kind of like clicked. So definitely maths and science were my favourite subjects, and I think that was also influenced by teachers as well. I had some really good, enthusiastic teachers that pushed me, so that was great. But like I say, yeah, sort of going up towards GCSEs, yeah, I was interested by everything. And I don't think at that stage I really knew what I wanted to do as a career. I didn't really know what the options were, so even when you had to sort of choose GCSEs, I ended up choosing some quite random things. I think I did history, sociology, and textiles. Not related in any way to what I'm doing now. There was an option to do an engineering. I think at the time it was called a diploma or like a BTEC sort of thing, but I didn't choose that at that point. I think at that point I was put off by it's all the lads doing it, which definitely doesn't affect me now, especially when I'm working. I'm one of the only girls, but at that point, I don't know, maybe it put me off, maybe it didn't. So yeah, I think at that point it was just take everything in. I ended up doing my maths GCSE a year early. My teacher, there was 3 of us in school, pushed us forward, and that kind of gave me a bit of confidence as well. He was kind of like, actually, you're really good at this. You should take it forward and find sort of, as you go forward, maybe find a career that involves it. So yeah, that was sort of my secondary school experience.
Great, yeah. And then when it came after secondary school, so obviously year 11, deciding where you want to go for post 16, what did you know, what kind of decisions were you making about what you wanted to study or where you wanted to study for your post 16 options?
So I kind of already had in my head that I didn't want to stay at my secondary school to do my A-levels, mainly because it's quite a small school, and I wanted to sort of get out, meet new people, have a little bit more independence. So the college I chose to go to, St Brendan's College in Bristol, much bigger, thousands of students compared to the couple hundred that were at my school. It involved just little weird things, even like getting there, so it's a bit further away, so
yeah,
we either had to take the bus or cycle, and that was just a bit more of a push than just taking the 10-minute walk to my school. Just made me feel a little bit more adult, and it's kind of a in between school and university, so I thought that was a really good choice. And I say with choices of A-levels, I chose to do 4, so I chose to do maths and further maths, mainly on recommendation from my maths teacher, and I'd already started doing A-level maths in year 11, year 11. So that was kind of given, and then I chose to do physics and chemistry, mainly because they were just ones I really enjoyed, not necessarily because I had in my head a career, just because subjects I enjoyed. Like I said, I was told by teachers that when you pick A-levels, they're a lot harder than doing your GCSEs, so pick stuff you enjoy rather than stuff you're necessarily told you're good at. So definitely picked A-levels that I thought I would enjoy doing, but they were really hard anyway. I would have to say that A-levels were probably the hardest point in studying compared to even doing a degree. A-levels were probably, I'd say, the most stressful. So
yeah, the step from GCSE to A-levels is massive. It really is. You don't realize it until you start doing it. You're like, oh, okay, this is a massive step now. Okay, but like you said, you know, studying subjects that you're passionate about, I guess that passion that kind of drives you forward even when it does get tough, that you're going to just keep going with it.
And also mentioned I did a EPQ. I don't know if they're still doing EPQs, the projects, because most of my subjects were, especially the maths, was very much just preparing for exam. There was not really any practical stuff to it. Chemistry and physics, we did some experiments, but I wanted to do the EPQ because by that point I kind of was starting to think about engineering as a career. I wanted to do something that's a bit more practical, where I could apply the stuff I was learning in my subjects to a project. And for that, I sort of designed and built, it's meant to be like a steam engine, but I ran it on compressed air. So just made it out of wood, so a bit of woodwork at home, and then understanding the physics behind it. So I did that for my APQ as well, which I really enjoyed, and got a really good grade out of that. And that was also something that I was able to then write about in personal statements while applying for university, so something a little bit different, and I think that really helped me stand out.
Yeah, that's a really good point about EPQs, actually focusing it on something that you're passionate about and you think that you're then going to go and study at university. I had a very similar experience to you. I focused my EPQ on, I did an essay about poverty and inequality, And even though it sounds a bit odd, but I went to go and study education after that. But one of the elements of the modules was about education in the context of poverty and inequality in other countries. So again, like you, is something I was able to put into a personal statement. So that's, yeah, a really good point about if you are doing an EPQ, you know, when it comes to thinking about doing your project, make sure it's something which, or like try to make it something which is focused on your future career goal or your future university goal. So then you've got something to talk about. Yeah, that's a really good point. So the people that are going to be watching this now will be current college students who will be studying on a very similar subject area to the one that you studied at university, and maybe even the subject that you took for post 16. So knowing obviously everything you know now for going through your degree and going into A levels, what advice would you give them? Yeah, if they're looking to maybe get into the industry or going to university.
For engineering, for sure, I'd say just having the knowledge isn't necessarily enough. It's more about how you problem solve, and like I say, having some kind of practical experience, whether that just be stuff you do at home, building models, helping your dad out with his car, just some hands-on experience when it comes to applying the information you're learning in the classroom is definitely useful. I think at A levels you really focus on the classroom, getting the subject matter down on paper, and you're not necessarily proving it as a practical application. And then I kind of found the biggest transition with going to university was therefore you're not so worried about you passing exams. It's about teamwork and collaboration, solving problems, being given a model of something and told to fix it or to do something. So it's kind of those skills as well, which actually I really enjoy. I think it lends, if you're interested in engineering or that kind of career, if you have both those sides, so you're both academic and creative and you want to be hands-on and you learn by doing hands-on things, then it's definitely right for you. But yeah, also picking relevant A levels. I think when I started my degree, there was a lot of students, we'd all had different backgrounds. Some people come from doing BTECs, they'd done engineering BTEC or a diploma. Other people like myself have just done straight A levels. And I don't think it necessarily matters which route you come in from. Not generally when you start university, the kind of stuff you learn in your first year gives everyone the same grounding. So people that have done the straight A levels, okay, you're not going to learn anything new on the theory side. But in terms of, I'd never used a CAD package, so creating models using software, whereas the people that had done a BTEC or something more practical had already had that experience. So everyone's coming in with different skill sets and different stuff. So don't feel like, oh, I haven't done an engineering BTEC, I don't really know much about engineering, isn't going to kind of hold you back at all. And like I said, after you've done your first year at university, pretty much everyone's on a level playing field with what they know and what they can do.